everybody. We're sorry we were a couple of minutes late. It's Michelle and Steph from ADHD Unlocked. It is Friday the 14th of August. And once again, we're having some technical problems on a Friday lunchtime. I don't know if Zoom has issues broadcasting to Facebook on a Friday, because this is the second time it's happened on a Friday where we've had problems sending our broadcast to Facebook Live. So we are really sorry, but as soon as we have finished this, we will send this to Facebook Live so people can catch up. So do apologise if you can't see this and you are waiting in the group. All will be revealed soon. And hello to everybody that is on Zoom. That is our members. So yeah, lovely technical hitches, which we can't kind of mitigate for, but we can mitigate further things, can't we, Steph? So all this week we are looking at barriers to getting things done. And if I was to pick my one ADHD, I suppose, impairment that I could wave a magic wand and get rid of, the one thing that has stuck to me in life more than anything else in the world, it would be those barriers to getting things done and procrastination and not getting on with the stuff that I need to be getting on with in a timely manner and doing things last minute and all of that, which many ADHDers suffer from. So Steph, I'm not the only one, am I, with ADHD to struggle with putting things off for various reasons?
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely one of the most, common traits of ADHD across all ADHDers. No two people with ADHD are the same, but definitely this procrastination, which I know we're not allowed to use that word, it's rife. It's rife with us for a lot of reasons.
Yes, so I thought I would break down some of the reasons and make a list of many of the reasons that myself and others with ADHD go through. So I'm going to run through that list and then we can pick apart maybe a couple. So one of the main issues, and this applies to people with autism spectrum conditions as well, is that executive dysfunction. So not having that natural flow of ability in our brain to be able to break things down and prioritise and order things that we need to do. So prioritization is a huge issue, breaking down the task into parts, getting things done in a timely manner, doing things that we shouldn't be doing instead of the things we should, and time management. So that executive dysfunction is huge. Also, without the pressure of a deadline, we don't seem to have that dopamine flowing. So that's a huge problem for us. So it's like lastminute.com, otherwise it ain't happening, even if we sit down to try and do it before. Then what happens because of some of these issues, we have a lot of shame and guilt about putting it off, and then that drains our energy. And then the shame and guilt makes us turn away from doing the task. So then that becomes an issue and that becomes self-perpetuating. One of my main issues is time blindness, because I can literally look at a task and go, oh, that'll take me 5 minutes, and it's actually 5 hours. Or conversely, I'll think I can't do that now because that's about a day's work and it's actually 10 minutes. So time blindness, that's part of executive dysfunction. I can't tell how long something's going to take. Then there's all sorts of other things that go forward with this. So fear of failure, fear of success, perfection paralysis, I can't do it unless it's going to be perfect. Getting overwhelmed and brain fog and tiredness and managing your energy levels. Getting distracted, so you might be like, I'm going to do a task and then the doorbell will ring or something will happen or something will ping on your phone. So looking at the shiny things instead of what you should be doing. And not agreeing with the task itself. So if it's something at work, for example, and the manager's told you to do it and you don't agree with how it should be done, if we think it's pointless or it's ambiguous, then we don't want to do it. We don't want to do it. So not having the right tools is also an issue for me. So you think, I can't do that because I need a special screwdriver or I need some filler or whatever. And so then you put that off. And also that sometimes you might need emotional support or an accountability buddy, so to clear clutter that might have some emotional connotations. Lastly, and I know this is by no means a definitive list for all of the reasons, but decision paralysis is huge for me. It's like, well, I could do this, but then where would I put that? And what would happen with that? And I could write this, but then what if I wrote that? And then there becomes too many options and you just go, I can't do any of it because I'm paralyzed by too many decisions and permutations of what could happen. So they're just a few of the reasons why I personally procrastinate, and many others with adult ADHD. So it's a case of where do we start? Where do we start really with this, Steph? And it's a case of what do we tackle first in terms, and what is the biggest hurdle for most adults really out of that list, and the easiest one to tackle, I guess.
It's a big list, as you just, and a lot of our members are like nodding furiously, they say, to all of these things. We can all relate. And that's why it is so difficult for us to get started, or if we get started, to complete, to finish. As they say, ADHD is sprinters, not marathon runners. It's really hard even to just get started, but then once you get started, to go the distance, right? So there's no kind of, easy kind of clear-cut strategy, and it's very dependent as well on kind of what it is that you're procrastinating on. And what we've done this week in the group, the first thing what's really important is to be able to identify what are those kind of tolerations. We've been speaking about tolerations this week in the group, and we did an exercise where we're identifying all the things, all those outstanding tasks. These could be like clutter, broken blinds in your house that maybe they're blackout blinds and they're causing you to not be able to sleep. But also not just things, they can also be people in your life, that all these things that kind of drain your energy, that kind of stop you, prevent you from being proactive about things, and also being able to identify like what is the kind of pivotal toleration, because there are pivotal tolerations that once we address, we, a lot of the other kind of things that are draining our energy will, kind of fall away. But you can't do that until you create a space and step back, guys, take a pause and start really looking at what you have on, what is draining your energy, because there will be some things that will drain your energy a lot more than others, that if you kind of focus on, prioritize, it's going to free you up. So it's about looking at what the value is of doing the thing. What does it give me, or what does it give someone else if I do this thing? And that's because that's meaning. We need meaning. It's got to be relevant. There's got to be a point, right, for us ADHDers. So identifying value, really important.
Really, really important, Steph, and thank you for that. And I didn't quite realise, as you call them, these tolerations or these undone tasks, what effect they have on your health. And actually, when I researched it, I realised that it can cause all of these physical stress problems, even heart disease, high blood pressure. It can even make you fat because you're more likely to eat badly and have digestive issues. So all of this internal stress. And there was a psychologist called Zeigarnik, and she realised that those undone tasks, they hang around in your head and drain your energy until they're done. And she noticed with waiters in a restaurant, and this I think was in the 1920s, that once they'd completed an order, they forgot all the details, but they remembered the people, they remembered the names whilst they were doing the order, so that it was taking up mental energy. So all of these undone tasks are taking up so much of our energy and massively draining us, you're right. So we do need to identify, A, what those barriers are from that list, and maybe add to that list, and then you can work out ways around it. And B, think of that meaning for the task. What does it mean to me to get that task finished? What does it mean for my mental health, for other people? What will it mean to my self-esteem, for my job, for my work? And that, I think that's absolutely key here. But there is something else interesting, and that is, how do we tackle the fact that sometimes we need that last minute? We don't want to put things off until the last minute, and it's usually the night before. Oh, I'll write this 12,000 word report the night before it's due in, and I'll be up at 4 a.m. still doing it. It's really difficult to kind of bust that. Even if we've put fake deadlines in, we still know it's a fake deadline. So I have no idea if we've got any idea.
That's the thing, right? We are very resourceful when we want to get out of something, guys. So, and particularly, we can't really fool ourselves into, I'm going to set this fake deadline. It's fake, and you're going to know it. It's kind of like, I had a student that I think there was an exam that was coming up. And then when she was told that there was going to be like a backup exam or something, there was a backstop, she kind of, the urgency wasn't there anymore. So she's like, whatever, I don't really need to study it. It's got to be urgent. And this is what we're talking about, Mish, about the stakes. But for first, for many reasons, things need to be high stakes. We need to have that urgency in order to get going. That's why, a lot of ADHD is a really good doctors in ER, barristers, there's a case, an argument presented, they've got to think on their feet, everything's urgent, and everything seems to come together when the stakes are high for us. We kind of kick into gear, but that's obviously, it's not a healthy strategy. It's not sustainable.
No, it isn't sustainable. And there's a great book about procrastination, which I recommend, called The Now Habit by Dr. Neil Fiore, or Fiore, however you pronounce it. And he talks about, so I'm going to present you with a task. So the task is, there's maybe a board that's laying on the ground that's about 1 metre wide, maybe 50 metres long. You have to walk across it. It's no problem. You can just do it. There's no fear involved. But if you put that board, I don't know, 100 meters up in the air between 2 blocks of flats, you'd be really scared if there was no sides, because the consequences of failing, even though you could easily walk across it, you're not going to fall off the sides because you've just done it when it's on the ground, are really high. So sometimes with tasks, we put those high stakes on. The fear of failure. What happens if they don't like my report that I've done? What happens if I don't do this properly? What are people going to think of me? And then there's that shame, and there's barriers. However, if one of the blocks of flats was on fire, the side that you're stood on, you'd go across it really, really quickly with no hesitation, because, there's danger involved, and that's the pressure of the deadline. And in this book, Dr. Fiore argues that if we have a safety net, we won't need the burning building to motivate us. So he argues that if we say, okay, let's write down and do kind of cognitive behavioral therapy on this exercise, what's the worst thing that can happen? And if it happens, how are you going to feel? And then it doesn't seem so bad. So it's providing that safety net so that if you do fall off, it's not going to happen. I'm not sure if that works for ADHDers. I'd be really keen for some of our viewers to try this and see if that helps with mitigating some of that need for doing it last minute to get our dopamine flowing. I don't know. What are your thoughts, Steph?
Yeah, it's I'm not quite sure. It'd be interesting to hear what other people think, but from everyone kind of I've seen, my clients and myself, I think it's a different kind of motivation. I guess it depends why you're not doing that thing. It could be perfectionism, in which case maybe that kind of exercise, talking it through, what's the worst that can happen. But I know for a lot of ADHDs, it's usually the procrastination, or not kind of starting or getting it done, is because there are just better things to do, like more interesting things to do. And literally a client just said that to me yesterday. He was saying that his friends with the exams, they'd all study for like months ahead. He would rather he was doing runs. He was like doing the things, his sports, things he liked. And then again, classic ADHD, two nights, one night before, just cramming, getting it all done, getting in the head, then just kind of spitting it out into the exam, but getting the same results as everyone else. Not condoning, guys, that's a good strategy, good practice to get into, but
Yeah.
It's what we tend to do.
It's what works for us. And I think what we need to do here is have different strategies depending on what those barriers are. So if it's the fear of failure or the guilt, maybe that safety net and creating that exercise will work. Or if it's just that it's really, really boring, the task, and we just it's like, oh god, yeah, I can do it. Yeah, I'm not scared of it. I'm not scared of failure that I haven't tidied out the bottom of my wardrobe. It's just boring and I haven't got round to it. There's better things to do. So maybe bundling that with some better tasks, like putting some music on or listening to a podcast,
like our smash it sessions. That's why we've got our smash it sessions, Mish, isn't it? Because there's boring tasks, right? Let's make a bit of a party. Let's get other people. We're all in it together. ADHDers love connection. You add a few people, sprinkle a few people, and they're automatic interest generally. And that's kind of what we do, don't we? We smash it.
Yeah, exactly. And we'll be announcing the next 2 Smash It sessions today, actually, for the rest of the month. So this is exciting to be able to do that. So I think what it is going through that list and identifying the barrier to why you're not getting things done. It might be boredom. It might be that you need accountability. You might need to pep it up, do it in a Smash It session. It might be that you're scared of success, failure, whatever. It might be executive dysfunction, so then you break it down into smaller tasks. So I think it's a case of identifying the barrier and then working out what the best strategy for your ADHD is to get over that barrier.
Even before that, identify actually what do you need to do? What are the tasks? Because remember, and that's the thing with the tolerations, and then running it through. Remember what we did? We're looking at the, do I do it? And yeah, so we gave our members this great exercise to run, tasks through this kind of filter that I learned at the ADD Coaching Academy, actually, and we added an extra column. So we've got a kind of bespoke little system there. And yeah, because a lot of the time we don't know what's on our plate, right? A lot of it's here, not there, everywhere, on different notepads. We don't know what we've got on, because sometimes if you really look at these things, perhaps you don't even need to do it at all. Perhaps you just dump it. Perhaps something can be delegated, right? There's lots of different things, but it's about stepping back and doing that kind of process. And then for the things that really you do need to do, that you can't kind of get rid of, then as Mish was saying, well, what's getting in my way? So yeah, and breaking it down like that. So
yeah, of course, that step before, and sometimes the amount of tasks we haven't sorted them, they're just in a pile in our heads, and then just sorting them out can be, a massive first step just to getting things done. And another tip, which is in the Now Habit book, is to just say, and this sounds like an old saying, but just keep starting, just keep doing 5 minutes, and then the finishing will take care of itself. It's a bit like, look after the pennies and the pounds will look after themselves. It's just keep starting and then the finishing will just happen. So that's a
oh, sorry, I laugh, Mish, because yeah, the problem, yeah, and I guess for ADHD and what I've seen as well, though, we start a lot of things, don't we, right? So sometimes the starting's not the problem. So, but again, everyone, you've got to look at it, don't you? Person by person, case by case, we're all different. But yeah, identify, well, what is your biggest toleration? What is your problem in terms of your biggest barrier for productivity and getting stuff done? Because yeah, some of us, we like to start things, and start something new. And, oh, it's something else new, but don't actually get across the line. Others just won't even start something. So yeah.
Yeah, this is really, really true, is that I keep going, yeah, it's like, how many things have you actually just started, Michelle, and just just left unfinished? So my brain, with that Zeigarnik effect, must be just so full of those unfinished threads. It's like watching a film where you never see the ending, and that kind of effect on your brain. It's like, I need closure from all these started tasks, otherwise my brain. So no wonder, we get overwhelmed and tired with adult ADHD. But there's lots we can do. So auditing what you need to do, and it's not as bad. Looking at the list of barriers and then working out from those list of barriers which one it applies and what strategies you can then put in place, and then use other people, use accountability, use whatever methodology you can to start getting things done. And then your life will change and just become so much easier. So here's hoping. Procrastination busted in 2020 for me.
And access to work application, often one of our big tolerations. We're going to do a kind of a longer smash it session on next Friday, so just before our lunchtime nudge, I think at 11, I think we said, Mish. So yeah, definitely a pivotal toleration, guys, because of what it can give you if you get it done. Okay, delegation might start becoming a possibility, right? So yeah, do join us at 11 on Friday next week so we can get that pivotal toleration off your plates.
Excellent. And next week our topic is communication. So a huge topic. So we're really, really looking forward to that, and lots to talk about, and quite exciting about how we tackle barriers to communication and some of the challenges we have with communication. But I'm off to start or finish some projects. What about you, Steph?
I'm hungry, actually, and I've got to take my little one to a special day. So today is not about productivity, it's about being with the family. So I'm looking forward to that.
Excellent. You have a lovely time, and I hope everybody has a lovely, lovely weekend. And thankfully, it's now a bit cooler, and so we can all sleep a bit better and refill our tanks. But we will see you next week when it's communication. But thank you, everybody, for tuning in. And apologies that we weren't able to go live because of challenges with Zoom and Facebook again. So you all take care, and we will see you next week. Thanks again. Bye bye.